This is 3.4 notes. In this particular video, we're looking at solving multiple step equations. So I didn't really have a sheet for you to do that because we've already kind of done that when we did equations. So I'm just going to do some of these examples for you. Again, you do need to show your work on all the problems. When we are solving multi-step equations, we're going to go to the variable side and we're going to add or subtract first. So we're subtracting 3 from both sides. So we're putting all of these lessons together, but this time it's inequalities of equations. So z is less than 2. So remember, you're going to click that less than and then 2. All right, on number 2, I'm going to write this one down. This one is a distributive property problem. Remember, when we have parentheses, we want to look to do the distributive property first. So it's 2x minus 6 minus 3x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Combine like terms, so it's negative x minus 6 greater than or equal to 2. Now we add 6 to both sides. So the first things I did were distributive property and combining like terms. That's not solving. Whenever we start solving is when we're doing something to both sides. So we added 6 to both sides, and now we have this negative. Remember, that's negative 1. So I'm dividing by negative 1. So here's that trap. I got to change that to less than or equal to negative 8. So right here, you're going to type on the toolbar less than or equal to, and then negative 8. All right, number 3. This is the kind where we have to move an x term first. When it's inequalities, I highly suggest always going to the right side and moving that term that's on the right side first. That way we get our variable terms on the left side. It's always helpful, again, to have the variable terms on the left side in case you have to graph. So subtract 6 from both sides. Oops, I didn't mean to switch that around. 2x is greater than negative 12, and then divide by 2. So the trap does not apply here because we're dividing by a positive. So it's x is greater than, and you're just going to type in negative 6. Okay, number 4. In a community garden, and they show the picture over here to the right, you want to plant and fence in a vegetable garden that is adjacent to your friend's garden. You have at most, so that's less than or equal to 48 feet of fence, and the fence must surround all 4 sides of your garden. What are the possible lengths of your garden? Okay, so we're using the perimeter formula here. So 2 times L plus 2 times W must be less than or equal to the perimeter in this case. So 2 times, now they have 11, so that 11 is the width. So we're looking for the length. So 2 times L plus 2 times 11. It's got to be less than or equal to 48. So that's 22. Oops, I don't know why I about to write 22 again. 48. Subtract 22 from both sides. So 2L is less than or equal to 26. Divide by 2. So the length has to be less than or equal to 13. So it's at most, so this is that pull down menu part. At most, all you have to do is click on it. 13 feet. All right. Number 5 and 6 are similar to ones we've already done. So look at number 7. So again, I'm going to go ahead and just switch these around so that my variable term is on the left. So negative 15 plus 4z. Remember, if I switch the whole thing around, I got to switch that symbol. So add 15 to both sides. 4z is greater than 16. Divide by 4. Z is greater than 4. So that pull down menu, we're going to click on the greater than and then type 4. All right, so 8, 9, and 10 are similar to ones I've already shown you. So number 11 is one of our first graphs on this homework. So we always go to the right side on these inequalities and move that variable from the right side of the inequality. Because again, when we're graphing, we want that variable to be on the left. So x is less than -5. So right here, we're going to type -5 and then pick the correct graph. We want the graph that's shaded to the left, but there's a hole where the -5 is. So that's going to be D. All right, 13. We got some steps we need to do here. I'm going to write the problem. So 3x minus 3 is less than or equal to 3 parentheses x minus 1. So this is the distributive property. So we did something similar to this before, but this time I want you to go ahead and keep going with that x. So we'll go to the right side and move that x term. Now, it just so happens that the x terms zero out on the left and they zero out on the right. So we want to determine, is this a true statement? Is -3 less than or equal to -3? Well, since it has that equal to, then yes, this is a true statement. So true, so we're going to click on the solution is all real numbers. And then when we click the graph, we want the one that's shaded, the whole graph is shaded, so that's D. Number 14, I'll rewrite it over here. All right, so again, doing the distributive property. And again, I want to, my variables are on both sides, so I'm going to go to the right side and undo that operation. So I'm adding 4x to both sides. And then subtract 9. So 7x is greater than or equal to 5. And so this is going to be a fraction. Haven't had a lot of those. So the solution is, so we're going to click on A, x is greater than or equal to 5/7. All right, number 15 is a word problem. Your cell phone plan costs $24.99 per month plus 15 cents for each text message you send or receive. You have at most, it's less than or equal to $28 spent on your cell phone bill. What is the maximum number of text messages that you can send or receive next month? So we only are paying $24.99 for 1 month at this point, plus 15 cents times the number of text messages. So that 15 cents for each text message means we're multiplying 0.15 times x. All right, at most is less than or equal to, and then it was $28 is the total amount of money we can spend. So we don't want to go over $28. So we're going to subtract $24.99 from both sides. And we get 3.01. Divide by 0.15. And we get less than or equal to 20.07. Now you can't have 7/100ths of a text message, so you're going to round down, because we don't want to round up and spend more money. We don't want to round up and spend more than $28. So we're going to round down. So that will be 20 text messages. Okay, so the maximum number of text messages is 20. Okay, so now you're all set to do this homework.